Wagwan, my loves. As always, sending you guys out peace, blessings, love, and abundance. It's been a little minute since I did a video. I almost did one yesterday, but then my nephew called me and my flow just, changed because I had smoked for the first time in a long time. And so I just was like receiving information and downloads. And it just goes to show weed is one of those things where you are always reminded that information is in everything. It's not just your TV, your cell phone, or any type of quote unquote devices that you can get information from. Of course, you can get information from other people from having conversations, which you can tell people are getting back into that even in this social media, YouTube age. But you can get information through your food, which you had people who've been talking about that for a long time, even way before I started my YouTube channel and even my consciousness coming on back on the correct line, the correct signal, I shall say, because we've been on the signal of the whole brainwashing, programming campaign of taking everything that was fed to us as it was truth. So we've been doing that for so long that when people who come speaking real truth, because they're connected to the real source, not this artificial created source to distract us from where our real connection comes from. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, now that people are connecting and come back online with the correct source, we are definitely understanding and understanding that information is in everything because everything is energy. So the way the brain works, think of the brain as just this huge computer, right? And it's taking in all this information from all these different places, right? So from, like I said, your TV, your cell phones, other people you're talking to, you can hear even though you don't know the language of the birds and other animals, you hear your dog bark, your brain is still taking in this information. Whether you can understand it or not, it's still receiving the signal, okay? But for some people, because you are connected to the wrong computer, you are not, you'll never truly lose your connection. The messages are coming, but you're not connected to that frequency in order to be able to understand it and decipher that information. So that's why things come through and you're like, there are certain symbolisms that's used. There are certain foods that have been tampered with in order to keep people on a lower vibration and from being able to tap into that higher source. And so with me smoking weed from time to time, but the ganja, because it's been a long time. Anyways, I felt the information come almost instantaneously, and that's just how powerful and important certain things are. And so just doing this video to tell you guys about a download I received, and when I say this is not, and I really hate to give disclaimers ahead of time, because to me, when people give a disclaimer, it's like you're trying to say that you don't want people to be mad at you. But I honestly am not doing this to offend anybody, because I don't really speak on a lot of social subjects. I am definitely a lot of times on my Sagittarius vibe, where I just kind of don't I don't always feel like, I should say, because Sagittarius are very blunt. I don't feel like being blunt. You know what I'm saying? I shouldn't say I'm on Sagittarius, because Sagittarius are very blunt. But I don't feel like being on my Sagittarius ego self and being blunt, because I do realize how I can come off. But however, we all are made up of certain energies for a reason. I got the 444 when I was saying that. I am the combo of a Sagittarius sun, so my ego, a Libra moon, so my shadow self from multiple lifetimes. My ascendant sign, which is Cancer, which is your soul. That's like, so your ego is the father, the moon is the mother, and the ascendant is your soul. It's the sun. Okay, that's that information I received yesterday from higher self. That's the connection when you think about the tree of life, the Kabbalistic tree of life. You know what I'm saying? So that's why 1 + 1 actually equals 3, because the mother and the father come together and they create the son. And when I say son, I'm not speaking of a gender like in the humanistic sense. I'm speaking of son like the soul, the son that's in you, your soul. So I am a Sagittarius. I have that ego or conscious for a reason, because obviously in previous lifetimes I would bite my tongue. I wouldn't really speak my truth. So if what's coming out your throat is your truth, then you need to speak your fucking truth. And that's why I needed the Sagittarius fire, because I have been so timid in the past. And I can definitely tell that just from my upbringing and my perception of the people around me, you know what I'm saying, from school and everything like that. So I'm saying all that to say, because I can get off course, is that I am going to definitely be vocal and speak my own truth in this video. And this is not to disrespect any group of people or anything like that. So I'm going to get into it, because people are like, damn, she's 6.5 minutes in. She ain't even said nothing. She ain't really say what this is about. But here it go. So I received a download. I was listening to, shout out to Father Rich Black Magic 363. I don't listen to a whole lot of things that deal with what's going on right now in society and this Donald Trump ran country and the basic racial climate is what they would call it. I don't really look at all those things, because I create a culture within myself so that my outside reflects my inside in the way that I want it to. You know what I'm saying? Not something that's being, you know, given into me and you know, somebody's basically the puppeteer. But listening to him, he had Blue Pill on there, and I think it's one he did on May 31st, and it was talking about the old gods and the new gods, and they were talking about, you know, Dr. Sabi's documentary, and Nick Cannon taking that over from Bliss Up, Nipsey Hussle. Never listened to his music. I'm not gonna lie about it. I had heard about him before, because in popular culture he's dating Lauren London, or was engaged to Lauren London, and I'm familiar with Lauren London, so I knew that she was with a guy named Nipsey Hussle, but I didn't know this man made music or anything like that. To be honest, the last few years, almost 3 years now, have been me on my conscious journey. So I had disconnected from a lot of pop culture, but I know he's been doing it for a long time. He's not new in the game, but I'm just being honest. I wasn't aware of him or whatever, but that's what this video was talking about, and how, you know, people, one, they give you your roses after the fact, which I've talked about it before. If somebody is making a difference in your life, you should show them that love in this life. I can personally attest to that because of my mother and her transition, and being a huge impact on me and my 3 sisters, and how each one of us dealt with it in our own way, or did not deal with it in our own way, causing all kind of other issues. And a lot of times the reason why people get so upset when someone dies is because we have been programmed and conditioned for so long to not see the positive in anybody, including our own selves. So we have a tendency not to give people that love that they so deserve. So this is a 2-part video then. 2 subjects, I should say, that are connected in this video. But that they deserve. So like, even though my mom had her issues, I spoke on it, how she was addicted to prescription pills. That did not make her who she was. Okay, that was just a particular energy that she also had going on because she was dealing with addiction. You know, that's an energy, that's an encoding in your DNA that you are supposed to become the alchemist and transmute it and get rid of it. You know what I'm saying? That's literally what the game is about. But her energy was also still like the mama who cooked the best food, and we didn't get fast food. That seemed like a luxury. But my mama cooked every day. That was the true luxury. Okay. And then, you know, also seeing the fact that she was funny and we could have fun with her and all those types of things. While my dad was more of the strict parent. So, you know, that is the reason why I say I can relate to it, because it is a programming that anybody who's on this planet has that programming in them. If you are connected into the quote unquote matrix or plugged into the system, by being plugged into these phones and all of this technology, that's how they keep you, you know, focused on it. So I honestly took a 3-year hiatus. Getting back to that, I took a 3-year hiatus kind of from, well, almost 3-year hiatus from everything pop culture. So with them talking about these different things like that, a lot of times it just wasn't in my line of sight because I wasn't tuning into that frequency for a reason. But anywho, they were, like I said, they were talking about Nipsey Hussle transitioning, so Nick Cannon taking over the Dr. Sebi documentary, which Blue Pill and Red Pill will be a part of, or are a part of. And excuse me, they were talking about some guy named DJ Flat. I have no idea who he is. I did a Google search. I didn't click on any of the links. I just scrolled through and read because I didn't want to waste too much time on him. And this is no shade to him. I didn't want to waste too much time on him because I automatically received why DJ Flat is able to even be, if any type of relevance to melanated people. Okay, when I say melanated, I'm speaking of people who have a bodysuit that look like this. I'm just going to keep it real, all right? Is because way back with Eminem, and I'm pretty sure before Eminem, but the download I received was way back when Eminem was implanted into hip-hop culture, and I mean implanted into hip-hop culture to change the narrative of the white man. Because when everything that you see on TV is to make one set of people look more superior and the quote-unquote good race of people through the media, and they portray them with so much wealth and this intelligence and all these things, and then when you see things about the melanated people, you're shown as drug dealers. And this is not saying, because I hate the term drug dealer, because the CVS is a drug dealer, so is Walgreens. Like, I'm just gonna keep it real. Any major corporation, because of the fact that they sell prescription pills to people, that's drug dealing, okay? So, but they say it as a negative connotation when it comes to a melanated person, because they quote unquote sell on the streets, and that's not legal, you know, to do in this country. But they paint that narrative that everything you do is quote unquote illegal, and if you're doing all these illegal things, then what does that make you? Because in church you were taught that makes you bad, right? So it is subconsciously implanting black people are bad, white people are good. And because people is unconscious, people are unconscious to this, and it plays out on the outside, because remember, whatever is, no matter if you conscious of it or not, if it has been downloaded into your subconscious mind, it's going to play out on the outside. So where you know, people may look at and see that black people are actually being murdered and killed on the streets because of the bodysuit that they're in, you know, people will still see the people that are doing it to them as the quote unquote victim, because they can say, you know, they were scared or whatever, which is, you know, again, all a part of that programming. And then some people decide to plug out of that motherfucking matrix, plug that thing out of the back of your head, until you finally take that out of your cerebellum chakra and stop allowing them, which is basically saying they connecting to your subconscious mind, they plug it into that motherfucker and feeding it. When people finally decide that they're gonna unplug from that for real, and to just like purge that motherfucker, move it to the recycle bin, and a lot of people keep trashing the recycle bin, empty that motherfucker for real. That type of stuff is gonna keep playing out. But I say that to say, guys, that Eminem was an implant into hip hop culture, and it was Married with Children, the Bundys, Roseanne. all of these different types of shows and entertainers, Vanilla Ice, were implanted into hip hop culture to take to change the focus, because they learned from a Vanilla Ice, because Vanilla Ice didn't seem poor. He couldn't relate to the quote unquote black people, so they had to get an Eminem who grew up in the trailer park trailer park community and was looked upon as trailer park trash, which was supposed to be equivalent to black people living in the hoods, you know, so he can relate, because, you know, he grew up, you know, without things too. He had a difficult relationship with his mama and his family too, but the difference was black children don't talk about and fantasize. Most of us don't fantasize about killing our mamas, because in the black community, your mama's everything. Your mama could have been like, could have done some horrible things to you and displayed a whole bunch of negative energy, but she still could have had all these positive qualities, meaning that she, you know, she shined light on good things in you that made you want to do better, and you just love her because you already know you were connected to her for 9 months. And you felt her pain. You felt everything she felt, you know? So you're tied and you're connected forever. That connection can never be broken. They can cut off the physical umbilical cord, but I honestly feel like you still connected to your mother, because your energy is connected and intertwined, and your DNA as well, you know, is coding from that mitochondrial DNA. So for black children and black boys in particular, I'm going to speak on a black boy, even though I'm a melanated female. Black boys really do have this love for their mother, even if they don't like her or have a deep down resentment for her. They would never think it, because when it comes to your mother, you normally do hold her up in high regard. So Eminem coming in talking about, well, he was talking about killing his girlfriend, but also his mother and all these women, like all this woman bashing shit, because that's really what it was. He really was angry with women. Is what his music displayed. Okay, so that is a total opposite, but then he's in a genre that it has been totally melanated. You know, the history of it stemmed from melanated bodies, just like all music, and that's just to keep it real. That all stemmed from. So him penetrating that music, he started to utilize melodic hip hop beats and trying to do that rappy, because Eminem, let's keep it real, Eminem really is not a good rapper. He really isn't. His voice, when I listen to it, is quite annoying, just to keep it real. But yeah, so he's out doing his thing and he's rapping, and you're seeing this on, you know, MTV and BET, and especially BET putting a sign, seal, deliver on him, a stamp on this nigga, or not really, but you know, a stamp on him that solidified him. And then he got Dr. Dre behind him. He got these melanated heavyweights behind him. And so there you go. And here we go. We got Eminem. So they had to make him infiltrate this supposed to be white boy that lives in poverty, who has a hard childhood. I can relate to you black people, or I can relate to the blacks because of that. And you can see him as a victim, not how we normally saw, you know, white children, or thought of them as having, all of them have money, all of them have intelligence, all these things, seeing them as being the positive, you know, representation of the human race, and seeing the quote unquote black people as the negative representation of it. But you not only have you been brainwashed to see him as the positive representation, now you can relate to him because he's living in poverty, but he's the symbol. Because remember, everything is a symbol. He is a symbol for hip hop, you know, and that's why they try to rank him, you know, all these different things like that. So now, the reason why I bring up Eminem, because if there was no Eminem, there could be no DJ Vlad. Okay, Eminem had to infiltrate the culture and pretend to be able to relate to people, to pretend to be able to be down for the cause, even though you never heard him talk anything about the cause. You never really heard him champion, at least I mean, I could be wrong. Somebody could, you know, comment and say he did do this, he did do that, and I will, you know, definitely tip my crown to him. However, at this time, nothing is coming up to the surface of my ocean, you know, so my universe. So I'm just gonna say that he was put there for a purpose. Remember, everything happens for a reason, and everything, when it comes, especially in this world we live in, is done purposely and intentionally, so that it may not be tomorrow, but at least 10 years down the road is going to open up a door which is going to fit for the DJ Vlads. And I'm going to bring it even more home by saying it also helped, very much so helped, with why we're in a culture right now where we have all this anger from what people like to call white people. We have all this anger and, you know, wanting to, you know, people not to come in the country and all these different things to play up the victimization of the white man, because Eminem played the victim. You know what I'm saying? By talking about how his problems and the way he felt about his mama, his girl, his, you know, everything, his world mattered way more than somebody's life, because he could kill them on an album. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, everybody's not gonna like it, but all that was done for a reason, in order for us to be where we are right now in a quote unquote Trump president situation. You know what I'm saying? So people are now like, okay, we see what's happening, but the white media can be on there to try to portray the white assailant, because they like to call it assailant instead of murderer, the white murderer, as the true villain and not the victim. Because, you know, we live in a culture where you got to have a villain and a victim. So even though you can see with your two eyes that we're not a victim, we have already painted that perfect picture that even when we do something, as far as even take somebody's life, we can still call ourselves the victim, because we can say we were scared. Because most people who are victims said the reason why they didn't stand up for themselves, or when she gets beat or whatever it may be, or whoever is abused, we know that is the picture of a true, I shouldn't say true, but a victim. You know what I'm saying? Or somebody who's really being victimized. I'll put it that way. That's, to me, the better way, because I hate calling people a victim, because, you know, we're ever whatever we think we are. So I really hate that word. But because I'm just talking about the way the system is set up, they want you to see a villain and a victim. They don't want you to know that you are actually both. It's like you are God and the devil. You know, it's the same thing. It's them playing the opposites. And so if we're being real with ourselves, we would stop allowing people to play up against us and say anybody's, I'm going to be anybody's victim. Because the black people have taken on the villain mentality, because we feel like we have to defend ourselves against somebody when clearly we've done from nothing. I won't say nothing, no thing wrong, but we haven't done anything to justify the ends, you know. So I just wanted to speak on that, because like I said, I received a download about, you know, how the narrative was even formed for us to be where we are right now in this culture, where we have such a huge divide within the human race. And we can look at somebody clearly kill a child, or anybody for that matter, and they're unarmed and they haven't done anything, as that being okay. And because this person was truly the victim just because they were scared. This person looked like the villain, so I was scared of this person that looked like the villain, because all villains look this way. And if you're not a villain, we know that because you have a resume that shows that you worked here and this is your role, this is your career, this is your social status. But even if you had that, the way you were dressed like the rest of them villains. So it's more villains than it is, you know, victims of the community, meaning that you are the outliers. You know what I'm saying? That is really the narrative. And when we all just stop allowing ourselves to like even have that shit in our subconscious, because you can want to change your mind, but you cannot change your mind until you have truly changed your way of thinking. Okay? Because you can't take this mind out and replace it with another fucking mind. It don't work that way. You have already cultivated the one that you have for your lifetimes of living, and it's whenever you feel like it, whenever you feel like unplugging from it, you know. But just remember that you have to learn, which is another thing the video was talking about, not taking things personally. We have been told to identify so much with these bodysuits that we have lost true sight of who we are. You know, we are not human beings, and I don't want to like take away from the human experience, because in order for me to even get to that point, I had to go through the human experience in order to suffer so much through it, to realize that this shit is not this shit is not the end all be all for me. This is just a stop on my journey. This is another lifetime that I needed and chose to go through to finally get it. I set up the stars. It in the stars a certain way, the certain ingredients that I needed in order for me to wake up. And if it wasn't for my mother transitioning back in 2009, to be honest, I feel like that is what set it in motion. Because even though it still took me almost 7 years? Yeah, 7 years after my mother. That 7 is a powerful number, y'all. 7 goes back to so much. I won't even get into on that, but we all know that the number 7 is very, very powerful. Is I did a video talking about the 7 cycles, even Saturn's return and all that good stuff. You should check that video out. It's long, but it's a really good video to explain the cycles and how that actually plays into your chakras as well. But anywho, I'm going to end the video on that note. We have to remember who we are, and if you don't, then it's all right. You chose to incarnate again. But when you start being able, like, I looked at Eminem's picture, and I promise you the truth was revealed to me, and I looked at him, I was like, damn, he looks like he's acting. I don't care if he is the real Eminem, a clone Eminem, whatever people want to say. I don't care. But I'm just saying, from the beginning, when that career started for Eminem, everything from his name, everything was totally and completely created, a storyline created, just like they create movies and TV shows. Artists can be storylines created too, because remember, everybody's playing out a story on stage, y'all. So, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, I'm going to end the video on that note. And I also want to offer my appreciation and gratitude to, you know, everybody who tunes in and, you know, watches my channel, and who actually not only watches it, but feels it, because I'm not one of the people who wants people to just watch them to watch them. No. If you don't feel a connection, it's okay. We are not vibrating on the same frequency, and I'm okay with that, because I realize we all are where we're supposed to be. I'm good with it, you know. So if you don't connect with it, I really wouldn't even want somebody to subscribe to me just because they like one video. I talk about a multitude of things because I talk about what I feel like talking about, meaning what I download or what information I receive. I don't even download videos every day. Not saying I don't receive certain things, but certain things are just for me. And especially because I'm now more than ever focused on feeding so much positive, because the more and more you feed the positive, the more and more you're going to want it. Meaning the more and more you're going to want to hear affirmations, the more and more you're going to want to, you know, meditate yourself to sleep. The more and more you're going to want to listen to shit that raises your vibration and that doesn't distract you, because you're realizing that you're starting to notice when you start to drop your vibration, so you're able to bring it back up. You know what I'm saying? That's how much more in tune you've gotten with yourself. And that's what me not doing the videos every day has done for me. I'm not saying that I won't get to a point where I just want to do videos every single day, because I do love the videos. However, I know that some of the things are just for me at that moment. And the reason being is what I just received the downloads for, is because I need to see that it works for me. I'm not saying it's going to work for you, but I do give you the some things that I received. What you're supposed to do with anything you receive information, you're supposed to process it like a computer and see how that information works for you. And processing can mean trying it. If somebody says that they, want to fast to, get their mental together, then them fasting might work for them for that amount of time. Maybe you need less amount of time. Maybe you don't need 10 days. Maybe you only need 5. Maybe you only need 7. Maybe you need more. It is all up to you. So you have to tweak it and go by what you feel. You know what I'm saying? That's learning to go by what you feel is, to me, has been the hardest part of this journey, because I mistake feelings for, those emotions. But feeling is something that is gut related, when you just know that this is something you should do, and you do it. And then it comes out and you see why. You're like, oh shit, that's exactly why I wasn't supposed to give that information then, because I really needed to work this and feel it for myself and be like, this is it. But there are times when you receive downloads, you're like, oh, I need to share this right now because this information needs to be communicated to others. The reason why we're supposed to feed ourselves more positive, because we'll start seeing the positive in everybody else. Meaning that even with their negative attributes that they displaying to me right now, from my own experience with either with this person or from my experience as a whole, I know that there is a positive energy in everybody, period. So I'm speaking the positive of myself. It allows me to speak the positive of others, or see the positive in others and speak gratitude towards those people. However, on the same token, it's also helping me speak my mind and on things that I know is just like not a human thing to do. On a human level, it's fucked up. If we didn't incarnate in these human bodies, we would not have any type of feelings at all towards the humans. We'd be like fucking Transformers. What's his name? Megatron? Is that his name? I know Optimus Prime is supposed to be on the good side and Megatron is supposed to be on the bad side. But he says all the time, like, fuck these humans. Fuck these humans. Because these humans is what's messing everything up. And that's the truth. It's our human nature that's fucking everything up. They're not necessarily talking about your body. They're talking about the mental process. Are you vibrating as a human, or are you vibrating as a God? And I choose God, because God takes responsibility. They told you God don't. They told you God just go out, from the Bible, they tell you just go out slaughtering and killing people just because, right? But true God, your true God self, is not trying to go out here, necessarily warring with people. God will handle things just like nature handles things when things needs to be handled. However, for the most part, God operates on a frequency of speaking his truth or speaking her truth and living the life that, causes for ascension, for growth and for growing out of even coming back to this scenario, this quote unquote world, versus trying to assimilate to this shit. And because you're trying to assimilate to something that is against your natural self, it causes you a whole bunch of sickness. It's just like eating shit that it goes against the way your body structure is made, and you get cancer from it, and you get different things from it, and all that being because you had introduced something foreign into you, and it caused you to be sick. So most of us have been very, very sick. That's why they call us the dead. You were consciously vibrating on a human frequency, really unconsciously vibrating on it, because your unconscious mind, your subconscious mind had been programmed. So if you take the S off of subconscious, you're left with unconscious, right? So, well, not just the S, you got to take the B out too, but you know what I mean. Take the S and the B out and you're left with, you know what, I'm high, guys. You get what I'm saying. Basically, your subconscious mind is under your conscious mind, but that's the only thing that is keeping you stuck where you are. Okay? That old programming. That's why I did all those videos talking about programming, and I had started getting into that real heavy in August, and I was reading all these books and I was doing all that. So now I'm actually more implementing that without needing the books. That's why I took a period from not even having to read. That was because there was a time and there's a season for everything. You don't have to read a book every day, you know what I'm saying, to be in a know. But if that's the way you operate, then you might read a book every day. I don't operate that way. The way that I operate is I read information and I start walking that information. And then the more and more I walk that information, it becomes like this. So now my programming has definitely went up a whole notch. So I'm going to end the video on this note, guys, because, you know, I'm watching my little niece, and so I'm going to check on her. She was taking a nap. But I just want to, you know, do this video to just talk about how, you know, your programming is really what's dictating this current reality, guys. And this is really just the remnants of the old ones who have been running things. This is really just the remnants of the last bit of programming that's working out right now, because the more and more people raise it, everybody don't have to, but the more and more people raise their vibration, the less and less people that'll be able to impact our reality. The reality will definitely be what it should have, not should have been, because if it should have been, it would have been. If it should have been, we wouldn't know that it needed to change, right? So anywho, guys, I definitely appreciate y'all so much. Y'all, if you are feeling my vibration, this information, and my channel, you go ahead and hit the subscribe button, as well as you can follow me on my Instagram page, which is Knowledge Butterfly. And you can also follow me on my Facebook page. Sometimes I forget about the Facebook, what it's called, but it's Empress Rostar. But it is my Knowledge Butterfly page. And Facebook is normally posted through via my Instagram. Maybe one day I'll care more about that, putting more energy into the Facebook, but right now I just really haven't been feeling Facebook like that. So I post not all, but some of my Instagram posts on the Facebook, so you can follow that too if you like, if you're more of a Facebook social media user versus Instagram, or vice versa, you choose. All right. Also, if you want to donate to me, feel free to do so. I have my links for my Cash App and my PayPal below. And that is going to be it for me, guys. As always, sending you guys out love into the ether. Peace.